Napier-based accountant, corporate partner and now entrepreneur Giles Pearson has created a suite of tests for new hires into accountancy that aim to not only test specifically what they can do technically, but whether they have the right personality attributes for the job. His tests are used across Australasia and he's about to launch properly into the US market. We went to Hawke's Bay to see what had prompted the former accounting firm partner to start this particular business.
One of the things that happened while I was at PwC was we obviously hired a bunch of people and not all of them worked out as we had expected based on their resume and the interview process that we undertook. So one of the things that we did in the last few years I was there was we were actually out looking for some technical skills tests to test our candidates on. And so we contacted a guy who lives locally, Steve Evans, who has a background in testing and assessment, and he scoured the world looking for some accounting skills tests for us and presented us with various options, and they were all just rubbish. Old, they were very Americanized. There was nothing in New Zealand, nothing in Australia, nothing in the UK. There were some in the US, but you know, they were generally very old terminology and clearly not being used in a hiring scenario. And there was no science really behind them. So I guess that was the genesis of an idea to try and create something that firms could use on the basis that, well, here was something that we wanted and couldn't find. No, there was no thought that this was ever going to be a significant business because, you know, I had hiking and running and mountaineering and stuff like that to do. So that was, I guess, was the sorts of things that I had anticipated doing. And this was only ever going to be a little part-time gig. And to be fair, it carried on as a part-time gig for a while. We developed a series of skills tests for the New Zealand market for both public practice accounting and for the corporate sector. And we road tested those. So, you know, one of the learnings, I guess, that everybody learns is do your market research. Well, we didn't do any market research because we just had a good idea. And we went out and gave it a go. You could say that's a good Kiwi attitude. It's probably not really, because we probably wasted an awful lot of time that we could have saved by having done our market research. But anyway, we just went out there with our product and, you know, slow success. Here's something that you've never seen before. People in accounting generally, well, don't use skills tests. There clearly weren't any. So unless they had something they developed in-house, which some people have done, but if they were going to the market for looking for something, there wasn't never anything. So it was always a create the market and then fill it, and that's I guess it's a very, very slow process, much slower than creating a product that's better than, you know, an existing product and then just going out in the market and effectively piggybacking off the market that they're already created. It would be fantastic if somebody like KPMG developed a product like ours, because they do all our marketing for us, you know, and they'd persuade the market that skills testing and specific testing for public accounting was a thing to go for. So, you know, from that point of view, I don't think we're particularly bothered about that. The market's massive. I think our point of difference is that we're totally focused on the public accounting firm market. So, you know, there are big testing providers, particularly in the US, people like Test Gorilla. They have a whole series of accounting tests and they're not that bad, but this is not their focus. They've got hundreds and hundreds of tests. And so they're not talking to accounting firms and trying to persuade them to use their particular accounting skills tests. They're much more broad reach in looking at essentially hiring departments, if you like. So whereas we're just narrowing, you know, straight into to the accounting firm market.
To support our award-winning independent journalism, subscribe to nbr.co.nz.